Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. I just wanted to make a quick video. If you were still a little confused about the difference between a food chain or a food web, I just want to make this video to kind of explain the difference between the two and what is actually being shown in each one. So as you can see, I have a food chain up here. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit if it will let me. And a few things with this food chain. One of the things that it's showing you here is it's showing you some organisms, right? So we have corn, we have a locust, or you could think of it as a cricket, we have a lizard, and then we have a snake. And so you see these arrows. A lot of times I have students that tell me that those arrows are showing what organism eats what, right? Like, I think the confusion is they think that the arrows are pointing to what's eating what. So think about it this way. Does this make sense? Corn eats a locust? Probably not, hopefully not. So the arrows are actually showing the flow of energy. So the locust is eating the corn. So the energy that's stored in the corn goes to the locust because that's how the locust grows. The lizard is eating the locust. So the energy that's in the locust goes to the lizard, right? It's flowing that way. The snake eats the lizard. And so the energy that's in the lizard flows to that snake, right? So those arrows don't show what's eating what. There is a relationship there, but it's showing you where the energy is moving. It's showing you the flow of an energy, okay? When we're looking at something like over here, just looking at food web for you, all of these arrows mean the same thing, right? Because in an ecosystem, think about it this way. It's not like one animal just eats one thing. One animal probably eats a couple of different things, right? We don't just eat one thing. I mean, I know like I could just eat tacos every single day, but I have to eat other food too, okay? So if we look at something like the rabbit, we know that the rabbit in this food web is only eating this plant, okay? But who eats the rabbit? Well, according to this food web, it's this buzzard, which kind of looks like a hawk, and this fox over here. So that's why the arrows are pointing from the rabbit to the buzzard and the fox, because it's showing you the flow of energy, the movement of energy. So I hope that helps. One other thing I wanted to remind you, again, you know that in a food chain, it's a very simple picture, but you know that the start of all the energy for life on Earth comes from the sun. We have to have the sun's energy because then it transfers and moves to the producers. The producers use that, right? They go through photosynthesis. They use it to make their own food because they're autotrophs. And then from there, it goes to other organisms, okay? Primary consumers are animals that only eat plants. Secondary consumers can be omnivores, so they can be animals that eat plants and other animals. And tertiary consumers tend to be animals that only eat other animals, or known as carnivores. Again, just to go back real quick to talk about ecological pyramids, which we talked about last week, this kind of gives you that same diagram that we looked at with the ink reactivity. Again, it is specifying that we know that the energy is coming from the sun. It's going there. One other thing to keep in mind, as we move up this energy pyramid, not all of the energy gets transferred. Only 10% of the energy gets transferred, okay? So if you start at the producer level, the bottom level with 100%, let's say, the primary consumer, the next level at the right above that, will only have 10%. And then the secondary consumers are only going to have 10% of that 10%, so they're only going to have 1, right? And a lot of this energy, if you're wondering where does that 90% of energy escape to, where does it go? Some of it the animal uses for certain processes inside. Some of it goes to waste, right? And a lot of it is actually lost as heat. And that's why I like this diagram, because it shows that heat loss. Okay. I also wanted to check in with the sea otters part 1. So a few things about that. I just want to remind you that this kelp forest food web that you were answering, again, those arrows are showing you the transfer of energy. So we know that this is kelp. If I want to know what eats kelp, well, smaller little fish and other herbivores. This little sea urchin right here, Even this little crab over there, just kind of following that arrow. And then if you want to know what's eating other things, you can kind of look where the arrows are pointing. All right, so I'm hoping this video was helpful. If you have questions, again, type them in the chat, email me, but I'm sure someone else has that question. So please don't be shy to ask. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on the other